Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, where geeks come to geek out and technical difficulties live to destroy us because I think I just got extorted like live on not streamed. You guys didn't see me, and I'm going to be honest. I don't know if TDB caught the embarrassment that just took place on the other side of this. But Melon told us we couldn't stream, so we just had to pay them again for this month to get this going. Your audio seems off. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Alec. I think that is the least of our concerns this evening. Boser decided he's taking today off. And so here we are just limping along trying to do this geek out session with the cooler version of me. And it's going exactly as you think it would here at 4 Geeks by Geeks. Yeah, so no Boser today. Boser's burning the candle at both ends. So I kicked Boser out for the day. He needs to take his good on Melon off on Twitch. I don't have answers, guys. If you're going to sit here and tolerate this, I love the fuck out of you because you're a better person than I am at this point. How come you didn't invite me on Boser with the eyebrows? That's pretty accurate, actually. You are the Boser with eyebrows. What's cooking good looking? Listen, if anybody's curious, if you haven't met Bath yet, she'll be up here later tonight. Wait, Twitch is delayed because it's delayed. Ma'am, do not get blocked on Twitch. Listen here. Anyways, we're going to talk about some cool shit tonight. Some probably niche, nerdy shit tonight. But that's what you're here for, right? Because it's 4 Geeks by Geeks, where geeks come to geek out. We're live Wednesday. We're doing a live stream reaction with me and whatever the hell you guys send me on the internet. So this could be our second to last stream ever. We're off the holidays because, Thanksgiving. Except if you're a pilgrim, then fuck you. All right. But without further ado, you're not here to listen to this nonsense. You're here to talk to the upgraded, cooler version of myself. So we're going to go ahead and get TDB live here on stream. And we're going to just ignore the rest of you and talk about our hobbies because let's be honest, that's just who we are here. So with a big round of applause, please welcome on TDB. What's up, brother?
I was waiting for some kind of applause sound effect. What happened? Oh, there it is.
There you go. I got you. I had to find my reaction. Yeah, I got extorted. I hit go live, and it was like, no, you got to pay us. You've streamed too much this month. And I was like, that's not how that works. So last time I tried using this, none of our videos worked. Like we have like I hit live. Ideally, we hit live. It goes through this like starting soon video. Like it promotes our guest and then like does a casual lead in for us, right? None of that shit worked. Everything went sideways, and as soon as I hit live, it happened again. And I was like, "This man,
I was dancing my ass off during that intro music. That was some hip stuff."
Listen, shout out to whoever we found on Fiverr. If you're not musically creative, if you're not creative in some aspect of your life, Fiverr's got you covered for $5, like the title blatantly states. So, oh shit! Thank you for following. Who was that? Ethereal Creations. Oh, and Canadian Dice. Hello, welcome in. I appreciate y'all.
People. That's a good dude.
They're good people. Oh, they're your peoples.
I don't own nobody, so I'm gonna say he's not my people. He's not my peoples, but he is an excellent friend who I met through Instagram and everything, and he's just a nerd like us. So
yeah, hey, well, welcome awesome. In. All right, first and foremost, tell us who you are. Tell us what you do.
My name is Drew. I do Team Drew's Basement.
Hold on. You come in, you follow us, and then you hit us with 5 gifted subs. Can we be friends as well, please and thank you? I'm looking for a sugar daddy, so if you're like in the market.
Earthos he's big baller. But I'm Drew. I do Team Drew's Basement, which is just my little hobby channel, I guess. I do D&D, Warhammer. I've been a dungeon master for 25 years. I have a homebrew campaign that I've been running for 25 years, which is on a small break right now.
I don't want to like age you, but that's almost as long as I've been alive, but we'll come back to that.
Thanks. So I've been doing that for 25 years. I've been playing Warhammer for about 20 years, 40K more than anything. But I did do fantasy when fantasy was a thing, and boy, do I miss my Bretonians. I've been doing board games. I work with some with some other companies like Ignition Core Games is a favorite game of mine. I've been fortunate enough to know the creator now, who, you know, I'm doing battle reports for him and testing rules and new models coming out, which is really cool. I mean, I'm just an all-around nerd, dude. I mean,
well, you should feel right at home here, because I don't think between all of our talking heads, I don't think there is a spectrum of geekdom that we don't cover in some way, shape, or form.
Excellent. What about music, guitars?
So I do not. Boser plays the harmonica, and actually the creator of 4 Geeks by Geeks, Eugene, aka PK, aka the biggest abandoner in the. I'm just playing, man. You do you. He plays 3 or 4 instruments. Are one of our other old talking heads. Moose played the. I think he plays the bass. At one point, there was a plan to do a Geek album, but with schedules, they just could not pull it off. And I'm still very disappointed by that, because I think that would have been an album for the ages, personally.
Yeah,
I can play the clarinet, or I can play the recorder pretty damn well, but that's about it. Hot cross buns, and I got you.
Nice. I can do trumpet and guitar.
Okay.
And I was actually in a hardcore / heavy metal band. We played hardcore and everything. And we did a
DJ, welcome in, brother. How we doing? We're getting all kinds of sound effects going on right now.
That works. But yeah, I mean, that was. I love music, but my real love is nerding. What would you like to discuss nerding-wise with me?
All right, so nerding-wise, my biggest question, as somebody who concluded their first homebrew last year, I don't have, like, I feel like a peon trying to speak to you right now, because my homebrew only lasted 2 years. Not by, like, can't get people to come, but doing it on stream is a fucking challenge. How do you run a 25-year game? That is both fascinating and incredible.
It's a 2-part answer. The first one is handpick your group. Don't let society pressure you who to put into it. Like, you don't have to have a balance in your group. Pick your closest friends only and don't care. Number 2, don't stream it. Like, really don't. That's the reason that my homebrew game is actually on a break right now, is because back in, I want to say, April, we started streaming it. And it went from every other week to 2 weeks on, 1 week off, and it just steamrolled, and everybody was like, "Oh, when's the next episode? When's the next episode?" Dude, hardcore burnout. And the worst part about it is like, I was the DM, and it's my world, and it's, you know, again, it's 25 years grown, that you would go on, and if a player couldn't make it, it wasn't a big deal. Okay, no problem. You know, we'll catch you next session. But if I was just like, dude, I had a rough day at work, like I can't run it today, the whole game shot. Like, it's all like, no one can even pick up the mantle at that point. So it's a lot of pressure, and to do it 2 on, 1 off, streaming it, you can't play music during it because it has to be specific music. And I mean, like you said, you weren't going to age me, but I'm too old to figure that out.
It's definitely a weird thing to, like, that balance, because we were the contrary. Like, we were only able to go consistently for the 2 years because, like, when we brought people in, I was like, hey, like, if you're gonna do this, like, you have to commit to this day every week. Obviously, life becomes a priority, and we're not going to be like, this shit takes priority to the rest of your life. But, like, we're asking 2 to 3 hours a week. Like, if you want to be involved with this, like, you have to commit to it. And for the most part, like, it did as a whole. But then we finished up that campaign, and we're talks of the campaign we're running now. We lost half of everybody. Like, yeah, I can't make this commitment.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely a weird balance of, because like you said, it's challenging to give a community what they want and what they expect in a story, and then try to balance that all with, as a DM, what you're trying to provide in a story, what your players are wanting and trying to provide in a story. I think I like your idea of telling everybody to fuck off and just doing it yourself in private.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, on stream, Earthos can back me up on this. I didn't really care. Like, the people who watched us didn't dictate, like, the way the story went, but on the same token, like, I knew I had to keep certain things reserved, because my world is a pretty dark world. And, you know, I come from a background of like, I studied in college. I actually studied like demonology. I studied Dante's Inferno in depth. I took a course that was literally Bible as literature, where you read it and broke everything down, like all the way from like Old Testament to like Revelations and like the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Lost Book of Enoch, like all that stuff. Broke it all down, and it was such a and so like my world comes from all that like dark stuff, and I'm like, man, I can't even like go into certain things because I'm afraid people might be like, oh, well, that's a religious reference, and well, actually, on subparagraph 2, chapter 3, you would know that Samel is. Oh my god! And
you have been requested to do the voice. Make you do the voice.
Earthos. So I do a lot of voices as a DM, so he's gonna have to be real specific as to which one he's looking for. I'm assuming he's looking for Fennec or Drask. Fennec is kind of like this gaunt, creepy, insane god of the Shadow Realm.
Okay.
And he's just like this torturous evil being. Like the face is gaunt, the chin is like sharp definitions. He's got jagged yellow teeth.
Thirst trap demon is how it was described.
Thirst trap demon. So this one was surprisingly popular and was requested its own website. So it's just to put it into like perspective. Imagine a great unclean one from Warhammer.
Okay.
That big bloating Nurgle demon thing.
Okay.
And I feel so stupid doing this without it being in game, but you're like, oh, I just want to taste you. and like he had like this big maw in his belly that like would open up and wrap his tongue around people. And like I had people on Instagram. And this is hand to God. Like I'm not making this up. They wanted the character's name was Drask, and he was like the bloat demon king. And people were like, we want an only Drask. We want, how much would it cost to get direct voice messages? People wanted sex messages. Like, and I'm not even making this up. Like, I got a message from somebody, hey man, do you do like sexy messages with that voice? And I'm like, are you? And I would laugh because I'd be like, he's the most vile, repulsive being in my world. And everyone's like, yeah, dude, totally. Can you have him like talk down to me? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So it's just. Oh.
So what you're telling me, there is a place for just full geekdom only fans where you simply do the worst of the worst, which is awkward because my niece just entered. Maya, hello. This is the worst time for you to join this chat. Welcome in. Do not tell Nana what you are listening to at this moment.
I'll keep it safe.
I can't. So my Nana is Baptist. I went to church with her a good chunk of my life. And when I went to Ball State, I started studying with the other religions. And at the time, the one that caught me was deism, which is like a combination of like science and monotheism type thing.
Right.
Well, I was living with my Nana at the time. I was like, hey, Nana, like, I know you're super religious. Like, I got to tell you, like, I don't think I'm Christian anymore. Like, this is what I think I follow. And she just looked at me like dead in the eyes. She's like, I pray you see the error in your ways.
Damn.
Gives my Nana a bad rep, but just to give you like the level of like Christian like this woman is. So when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, she had to like sit me down. She's like, I just really need you to explain to me, like, are you worshiping the devil? And me
yes,
being
Nana.
the smart ass I am, that was the answer. Is like, yes, Nana, that's absolutely 100% what I'm doing. Because her oldest texted her and she's like, hey, you need to talk to T. He's worshiping the devil doing this D&D shit. Because like Michael is just at the end of it, he instigates just as bad as I do. So I'm living with her and she sits me down like I'm getting ready to go live. And she's like, she touches me and said, are you worshiping the devil? And it just, I'm like, I love you to death, but like you are so out of touch with every aspect of like my personality. I don't know how to communicate with this with you.
Dude, it's unreal. I mean, it's yes, Nana, I worship the devil now. Thank you.
But then if I could add into the mix, I do dirty voices of characters I've made up into this game and then get paid for it. I think that's just like the full circleness that I would really need to do for her to finally disown me.
Dude, I'll tell you, it is the weirdest thing because, like, again, when I describe him, he's like pustulent, boils, bloated, like, and like as the group's like fighting this demon too, like, pus is leaking out of the wound, like he's just vile. He's constantly like, belching or farting, like it's just disgusting. And somewhere someone's like, I want you to send me dirty messages. I want you to take off your brows. Like, it's just so weird. But that's
reminder, we don't kink shame here. You can be into whatever you want. You just may get slightly mocked on the internet.
Hey man, it gives me hope. It gives me hope.
See, you're going to get me in trouble though. So Bath42069 is my fiance, and you have now opened up a new thing in my life to mock her with, and I know she's going to hate every aspect of it. But I will be stealing that from you. I won't put it on the internet; that is fully yours. But in my bedroom, I will be using that voice 100%.
I mean, do you want me to give you some of his famous lines?
Well, she said otherwise. She is actually on board with this, or I think you just opened up a new loving aspect of my. So yes, hit me with some of these one-liners that I can hit her with.
Well, one thing you'd be like,
I gotta take notes here.
You smell so good. I just want to taste your succulence. And like people are like, yo, can you DM me that? I'm like, what?
See, we're two very different people because I wouldn't have thought twice about capitalizing off of that.
Listen, onlydress.com could become a thing. I don't know yet.
We got to pick it up now because you got guys like Alec here who will purchase that for you, and if you don't utilize it, he will find a purpose, and that might not be good for anybody.
I mean, the other request I always got was Fennec too, where people are like, can you have Fennec talk dirty to me? And I'm like, I don't know. No, I can't. It's just too weird. Like, cause these are like evil dudes. Like in my campaign, I mean, they are like, Fennec was one of the most twisted like enemies I ever came up with, because he wasn't about just like, like when a BBEG comes up and they're like, oh, they're doing all this destructive. He wasn't like that. He wasn't up in your face. He wasn't destructive. He was behind the scenes, pulling strings, like torturing people slowly was like his thing. Like when the group first really discovered him, they found him below an outpost in the north where all that you heard was like the sound of like water balloons breaking.
Okay.
From inside this room. And it was, it was like your typical Diablo dungeon. It was like all like, cement, concrete rocks and cobblestone floors, and walls. Like imagine like the butcher, in Diablo 1.
Yep.
I smell fresh meat, And so like inside, like they heard like this screaming, they'd hear like these like water balloon sounds breaking, they'd hear his laugh. And then they open the door and they realize that the water balloons breaking are the organs falling and hitting the ground. And people are like, what would be really sexy? Can you DM me his voice? And I'm like, no.
I'm not a morally like righteous person, but this is where I draw the line.
Well, I mean, because he's like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. I'm going to devour your soul, and then maybe perhaps you'll understand where we come from. And people are like, dude, you have to send me something dirty in that voice. I'm like, I don't. Why?
Why are you like this? Like, maybe we'll get to. I need to know what happened in your life where this is just scratching that itch in your brain. Like, yep, that's what's going to get me over the hill right now.
Can you please ask him? Could you please spank me? No, we can't.
I can't wait to send these clips to Boser and be like, this is what you got to miss out on. Feel remorse.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. And what's funny? Because like, I mean, I'm pretty much your typical nerd story. A dirty leprechaun, I'm in.
So is she.
Oh my. That was a pleasure to meet you, Daddy. I'm your typical nerd. Sort
Maya,
of like,
thanks for the follow.
God,
Please
for
don't make me
fuck's
regret
sake.
this.
What is that? Why would you send that emoji, Beth? That's your
Listen, she
wife?
said yes to me, so that should tell you all that needs to know. But to give you a breakdown of her and I's relationship, when I proposed, she looked me in the eyes and said, "I guess so."
It's better than what happened with my wife.
I mean, I got to know at this point.
So, I mean, I'm gonna nutshell the story for you. So, like, there's a place if you're familiar with Long Island called Long Beach. There's a boardwalk there down by the shore, and I was like, oh, that'd be a great place to propose. And I'm a chatty guy, so like everyone was expecting this big speech. Nope, I got on one knee and I was basically like derp, and opened the ring box, and she just walked away. And I was like, oh no, that's not good. That's not a good sign. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. She's like, did you ask my dad? I'm like, well, you got that, baby. But of course I asked her father first. But yeah, it was, she just whoop 180 and left. I was like, where's she going? Which to me is worse than I guess so.
Listen, so I'm bad at dates. If she doesn't remind me it's my birthday, I don't remember. Facebook reminds me our anniversary. So I had the bright idea. I propose while I'm moving in so I can remember, because she's going to be like, oh, when did we move in? This is an important date. I won't forget it if that's our engagement date. And so I thought I was being clever. Maybe not so much. But I have my sister going out. I had to take her to get her nails done. And we're just chilling, like we're done for the most part. I get on one knee and I propose, and she looks at me. She's like, and I ask, and I'm not a very emotional guy, but like I'm holding back the tears. I'm like, I'm ready to commit my life to you. And she looks me dead in the eye and goes, yeah, I guess so. And I'm sitting there and I was like, yeah, here's the ring. I'm excited. And I walk upstairs and she walks up and follows me. I was like, I need clarification. I guess so, like you actually want to do this, or I guess so, like I put you on the spot and you feel obligated because my sister's in the same room.
Oh, dude, that is tough. That's a tough situation.
Yeah.
But oh man, I don't remember where I was going with this.
Listen, I've got an attention span of a squirrel. I'm going to do this often. I'm going to apologize for the same thing often.
No, not at all. But I had your typical, what you would expect a nerd of my years being a nerd would have. Like, I was abused from like second grade to 12th grade, just bullied every day, made fun of, freak, playing Magic the Gathering, nerd, loser.
Sames.
It's not like nowadays where like, not that it's still 100% better, but like if you play Magic now, you're not a nerd anymore. Like it's cool. Like
I didn't start playing Magic until a month ago, 2 months ago. I've got like 6 commander decks behind me right now.
Bro, I gave up on Magic. I can't. I'm getting old. I feel Magic in my bones. And by the way, to age me / date me, whatever you said before. I will be 40 next week.
I think I turn 28 next year.
That hurts. That hurts.
So you had talked with Boser for like most of your guys' conversation, really? Setting this up. Alec was born in 2000, and his opinion doesn't matter for a fucking thing. Bro. And so like I was going through and kind of like reading like your guys' conversation, because like I'm going to sit here and chat with you, like I got to have a basis of what's going on. And the first thing I read was like, I have a running campaign for 25 years. I was like, I don't even have to read the rest of this bullshit. Like that's the only fucking thing I care about right now. But then my second thought was like, how do I bring up the fact he's been running this game since I turned 2? Is when he sat down and was like, I'm going to start a homebrew and I'm going to run it for the length of this man's life, and then talk to him about it on the internet.
Let me school you, boy. Well, I mean, it's easy. So when I turned 14 years old, basically I had a couple friends who were both named Ryan Becker, Ryan Romeo. If you guys are probably not watching, what's up? You don't do this anymore. One of them got D&D for like a birthday or something, and they're like, hey man, you're super into Diablo and stuff, you want to tell stories? I was like, all right. And like,
would this be first edition or second edition?
Second, I think.
So this came in just like brutal, like you're going to die, keep characters on the ready.
Oh, hell yeah. And coming from a Diablo-obsessed background, that's you have 10 for any session. And you can't go back to your body and pick up your gold. You're done. So so back then I remember I started on like a muddy road. You know, these two guys in the back of a wagon heading towards like this little rundown town in this forest.
Skyrim?
A little bit before. This is well before Skyrim. You know, they're riding in the back of this wagon to this like broken down village that's surrounded by like a wooden, like almost like a log cabin fence style, like where it's like the stacked logs, and there's torches burning and like bowmen up on like on reinforcements and like keeping an eye on everything from the undead and demons. And it's so funny because like that's how I started it 25 years ago, and from there it, you know, again, being brand new, being 14 years old, I brought him into like the cathedral from Diablo because I didn't have anything that original going on.
Right.
And then from there, I just said, I'm going to just make up my own story at this point. And we really ran with it. And it's so funny because 4th edition, I think everything really came into full swing. But when 5th edition came out is when I really picked up the game hardcore again. And I started it inadvertently the same way. I started the group in a wagon riding through this muddy trail to a place called Woodsmead, and to the north was the Holes of the Mad King. Oh, here we go. Here, this is great because I'm just going to transition perfectly. So they go through the forest of Screaming Souls, where basically the trees are these twisted forms of people who had died there during a great battle.
Okay.
And the ground itself, if you stand on it long enough, blood starts to seep up from where you're standing.
Love it.
And it's the blood of the people who died there in this massive battle. And you go to the Halls of the Mad King, where the adventure really kicks off. And you learn that my BBEG of 25 years, Panzuzu, who was killed and contained her soul and energy in a crystal, they go through this whole, you know, dungeon of the Mad King. They go under his keep and find out that beneath his keep, he was being whispered by Fennec this whole time, not in a sexual way. And he was not in his DMs in the way you'd want. And basically all below the keep was just levels and levels of like almost like torture chambers, like these big like levels of just like racks, Iron Maidens, all these different things, all the way down. And it was there that they found a paladin dead with a crystal buried in his chest. And they found that they were just reliving a timeline going through there. And everything comes back to current time. And they found out that the crystal actually shattered. And Panzuzu's essence was released and she was coming back.
Ooh.
And that's how my 5th edition leg of the campaign started. And one of the guys in the group has been in the game for 24 years.
That's insane. And one of the coolest things about this whole thing.
So when that he found that crystal, of everyone in that group, he alone looked down at that crystal and went, holy shit. Because he as a player knew what that meant, but no one else did. And as a character, his character didn't know what it meant. So it was really wild. And then that led me into out here on Long Island. we have something called Long Island Tabletop Expo that they do at a aviation museum.
Oh, that's
where
cool.
I actually ran 3 random groups of people attending the convention through the halls of the Mad King.
Oh,
and I ran all day. So there were 3 sessions. Each one was 3 or 4 hours. And you could either stay in all 3 sessions to get the whole story, or you could hop in and out as you wanted. And like just it stood as a one-off, or it all melted together as one long story.
That's so awesome.
So the big hype train about that is now Long Island Tabletop is now a 2-day convention next year in March, where I have been asked to come back and DM again. So now I'm going to have 6 sessions. 3 of them I'm working on it right now, so don't quote me on this exactly, but at least one of those sessions is going to be played streaming on an IMAX theater. And then
that's dope.
It's going to be the same theory of 6 sessions, as you can play any part of it, or you can stick through all 6 sessions, get one complete story.
That's so cool. And I'm going to be honest with you, like seeing that inspired the shit out of me. We've been growing this channel for 5-ish years now. Like I said, I had my own homebrew campaign. Like you grew up being bullied for being nerdier, but like most of us, we tried hiding that because obviously you don't like boast about that. You're gonna get shit on more. It's like all of my friends growing up were like the sportsy guys, so I played sports with them instead of playing Dungeons and Dragons like I wanted to. And then I moved across the country and met a guy who was like, "Yeah, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons." I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is the start." Got a group together. I think I played twice, and I was like, "Yeah, being a player is cool, but like I want to be on that side. Like I've got way too many thoughts in my head. I gotta get something going." So I wrote my first campaign. We finished that last one last year, and it doesn't feel finished to me. Like ideally, like when I wrote it, like I wrote it as a sandbox that like I plan on like congealing together and selling for like anybody to like have like pick up, play in this at some point. But I realized also I'm lazy, and two, I don't know how to do any of that. So in the meantime, why not open up the possibility of being able to do this in Discord? So we're starting a D&D adventuring league. So that way, whether or not I'm DMing or one of our buddies, Jeff Stitch, wants to DM or anybody wants to play in this world, my only requirement is after your session, I need to know what you do in this realm, so other players and other DMs can pick up and play off of that.
Right.
And as soon as I saw you like 25 years, I was like, younger than he is, I can get this going longer than he did. So that's my new life goal, is to outlive you and outlive your record-breaking campaign, because it's the only thing driving me at this point.
So I may have hung up the mantle for a little bit, but starting in January, it's picking back up. So that's going to be a continuing timer.
All right. So I know you don't stream it anymore. How do I get to follow this story? I don't need to be a player. I'm not trying to insert myself in that aspect, but how can I keep up with this story as it continues?
So one of the biggest things that I think wound up having me stop streaming it and kind of moving it back to the private realm is scheduling is not, D&D is not, for me, it's never meant to be a monetizing thing or set on a schedule. Like, I mean, you try to maintain a schedule so you continue to play the game, but it can't be 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, you know, because then like it becomes more of a job. Like it should just be, hey guys, Thursday night, everybody free, you want to come over, we'll do a session. Because I mean, it's called Team Drew. I'll tell you how it got named Team Drew's Basement a while ago, but Team Drew's Basement is literally, we just play my games in my basement. Like it's just a nice little finished area, and like we just hang out, drink responsibly. We have a couple of beers, or like I'm a big mead guy, and they have a meadery by us, so like I'll pick up like 24 meads, and like we'll just hang out.
See, I would have guessed you made your own. You give me that type of energy. You're
not wrong. I like to cook. I like to cook a lot. So I built. So here I'm going to geek out on something else. We had a pantry in my house when we moved in the basement, where there was like 6 feet of unused space behind it. And this thing was like 18 inches deep. The shelf was 12 inches. The door was on one side. And then like you had like another like 10 feet of pantry that you couldn't reach because there was no way to get in there. So I knocked it down and I built a whole walk-in pantry from scratch, butcher block, countertops, everything, wine fridges. That now I'm actually going to start making my own homemade like vanilla extract, anise extract, all that stuff, and like have that all on the counters in there. So I'm a nerd. Oh no, I did the old man thing. I forgot where I was going with this. Oh,
I'm picking back up, playing in the basement.
Yeah. I know I'm back. So like again, it was always about just doing the game for fun, and when we had time to do it. Oh shit! No, I really lost my place. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so old. We were talking about 25-year campaign, and then what was
taken back up in January. Oh, how can I like keep up with this story?
Thank you. There it is. So one thing I am still doing though, which on December 20th picks up again, is I'm doing Adventures in Alevanda. Alevanda is the world that I created, which is a huge map hanging in my basement. So Alevanda, I'm gonna have random groups that I stream with.
Oh, that's
not
awesome.
necessarily set groups, just like hey, I'm looking for 5 people who want to play a story in my world. So like in 1220, for anyone who is familiar with them, I have Jeremy of Old Men Rolling Dice, Alan, who games with him a lot, just a captain, and from the Voctaire, I have Affy the DM, I have Artemis 88, and I have Heroes of Evermore.
That's so cool.
And they're going to enter my world for the first time, and they're not ready. I've been hibernating on this game for a couple months now, so it's just going to be terror from the gate.
You've got it boiling up, and you're just ready for it to pour out.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys can always follow on Instagram and stuff. I always make regular posts on that, and like I try and hype it up with some artwork and stuff. And but yeah, I mean, you can always watch those. Those will keep you up to date with what's going on in the world in general. But I'm gonna make regular posts on my Instagram about like what happened in the session. You know, like little stories, little reels, things, so people can see what's happening. And we now officially have intro and outro music.
Nice.
From the Lady Victoria.
Nice.
If you follow her on Instagram, it's at the Lady Victoria. She does. Oh man, I'm gonna try and think of what it's called. It's like a Douglas spear or something like that. It's some kind of chordy instrument that they use in like medieval times. And she
Renaissance Festival musician.
Yeah, dude, she's awesome, and she's the sweetest woman. And I reached out to her. I was like, hey, the Dulcimer, that's what it's called. I said, hey, I would love for you to write intro music for me. And she's like, totally, I'm down. And like wrote this intro, wrote this outro. And so now when I do the streams, I'm going to have that. But hey, man, if you ever want to sit in on one, you're more than welcome.
Fucking sign me up. I am so on board.
I will tell you, it's brutal. It's a brutal world.
Fucking bring it on.
So one of the things that that also affected me with streaming and made me not happy to stream. Let's have a generation discussion. My generation of players started in 2nd edition, where death was prevalent. Like you were joking around before, like, hey, you have to have 10 characters like signed,
yep.
like, it lined up, ready to go. The people who picked up D&D during COVID, and it's not even necessarily an age bracket. The game is just different, where you come up during a time of things like Critical Role, where a majority of their characters are going to live the entire campaign because that's kind of their show. And for those about to jump on me, I'm not shitting on Critical Role. I love the show.
I will. It's bottom 5 of actual play podcasts. Anyways, you can go on.
Well, I love certain voice actors in that show, like Liam O'Brien.
Oh, they're talented. Don't get me wrong, but if you're trying to get into actual plays, that's not where you start, and I will die on that hill.
No. We'll discuss Critical Role in a bit, but but people who came up watching that and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do D&D over Discord, and we're going to be like the next Critical Role." A lot of people have a hard time parting with their characters now. And I will tell you, as a dungeon, and this is just, and I'm going to make the disclaimer now, this is not at anybody in particular, because I've gamed with a lot of people since I made this channel kind of public.
Mm-hmm.
I've gamed with so many Instagrammers, so many random people, so many conventions. I actually have a list of people that I gamed with since I started this channel, and it's over 100 different people that I've hosted for random different things.
Heroes of Evermore. Hello, welcome in. Welcome for Geeks by Geeks, where geeks come to geek out.
Speaking of 1220, there he is. He's going to be in the game. That's the dude. So I find that more people who are newer to the game now have a much harder time letting go of their characters than before.
Oh, 100%.
So as a DM, it makes it very difficult to run a game knowing that I'm going to put you in real peril, but it's kind of bullshit that there's no actual peril to it. And as DM,
Alec, thanks for the gifted sub.
And as a DM, I just find that makes the game boring for me to run.
It's definitely a weird challenge. So this is going to age me for so we started our campaign because of COVID.
Yeah.
It turned into like, hey, everybody's locked inside. Capitalize on the fact like this is when people are going to be able to tune in for something like this. We catch them now when they go back to world, like, they're going to want to keep up on this story. And so I've only DM'd 5th edition. And the one thing I've hated from the get-go is how unpermanent death is. Like, it takes away all, not the satisfaction of death, because that makes it sound like you're out trying to get them to die, but it takes away all fear, because at the end of the day, there is no fear. If you've got a diamond, you can come back. And it was one of the things, like, guys, I'll tell you early on. So the campaign I wrote was broke up into 7 districts because of the epitome of, they had to defeat the 7 deadly sins to be like the epitome of sin was the breakdown of it. Now I was like, you guys get 3 districts of training reels, because a lot of the guys, this is their first time playing, and I didn't want to punish them for like not knowing the rules, not knowing mechanics, not knowing the effect. I was like, after that, like, training wheels come off, and I'm not gonna pull punches. I'm gonna spill the beans as a DM. I fudge dice rolls sometimes, but it was only in an effort to allow them to keep their characters up until those first couple districts.
Right.
But I felt gross afterwards, because, like, I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to have fun. But if you can run headfirst recklessly into this with no fear, because you know you're not going to die, it's redundant to do this, because you're not delving into your character enough to get the idea of, oh, I can lose my life, so that means I can lose this character. If you don't have that fear, you're missing an entire aspect of this character you will never get to experience.
Yep. And to build on what you're saying, it's just like you said before about the satisfaction of death. The big thing about, I think that's actually a correct statement, because when there's no risk of death, there's no satisfaction in any challenge you go ahead. Exactly. So even like when you fail something, there's no satisfaction in knowing, like, my character gave it his all, but they still died, or he or she, whatever.
Right.
My character, whatever you're playing, gave it its all, and they still failed. That removes the satisfaction of, like, this immovable object that my character said, I don't care. Like, I'm so filled with rage because this demon killed my family. I'm going after it. And the party's like, no, don't go. You know? And then you just charge it willy-nilly. There's no satisfaction knowing that, like, they died in a fit of rage. Like their character was done justice in that death. There's
exactly.
It doesn't advance the story, because now it's, okay, so this big bad, this is going to be the end game boss that you got introduced to. You're level 3. I throw it at you. It's insanely powerful, insanely strong, but it can't kill you, because that's just the way it is now.
We had one of our characters die, and part of the reason he died was he was leaving the show, and I was like, I don't want this character's arc and story to become just absolutely redundant. I don't want a cliche write-off. And so, like, I didn't intend to kill him, but he's like, hey, when I die, I'm out. So when the death happened, it was fantastic. It was this beautiful thing. Like, everybody at the table legit had tears because they had that death set gratification out of it. One of our players, like, wrote the legit eulogy for the character, wrote a song, recorded it, and played it live on the stream.
Shit.
Like,
that's awesome.
It was this beautiful fucking thing. And some politic and stuff happened. He's like, hey, the things I had to go off and do, I want to come back. And I was like, cool. You're making a new character, though, because, like, your character died. Right. Well, they sat down with the table and they're like, yeah, no, we have the capabilities of resurrecting him, so we're going to resurrect him. The fuck do you mean you're going to ruin this beautiful moment and resurrect?
And it's gone
You
forever.
just had the perfect send-off, and you're like, nah, we're bringing him back.
Yeah. Dude, it's outrageous. I don't even know if you can hear me right now.
Sorry, I just got in trouble for being too eccentric.
Too feisty? It's okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
But here's the other thing. So now my main player group, when I was streaming, there were a couple people there who were very attached to their characters. And you know, none of them wanted their characters to die. But they were all cool with, like, look, I don't want my character to disappear. I don't want my character to go away. I have a lot of story to tell with this character. But they were all cool with me being like, okay, look, you went up against this immovable force. Let's sit down and have a conversation. Your character can't survive this. What do we want to do here? And, like, they would be cool with, like, okay, this is going to come up later, or my character got their ass destroyed by Fennec and brought into the Shadow Realm, and it helped move the story. And then the group had to do something to bring them back out of the Shadow Realm, and it was like a permanent like plot device with that character where like one of the characters carried like a piece of the Shadow Realm with them, like they were partly demonic for a while. So like they were very open to that. So a couple of the guys were in the group were just like, if I die, I die. Like my friend Adam has 40 characters lined up. The guy who's been in the game for 24 years, he's got 40 characters at any given time. He's like, no, I'm dead. Bye. Look, I have a Warforged now. And it was great. But I have to say, my group, the streaming group, which you can all watch, I believe they're all on YouTube. You know, they were very good with working with me. With if something was too hard, they would more than willing to like again suffer penalty. Like two of the characters, Jubilee and Inarieth, went into the Shadow Realm one time because their characters had like this dark connection to Fennec, and like so they actually had their own like separate session where they were in the Shadow Realm, just the two of them, and it was like this wild nightmare session. So like it was really cool to do stuff like that. I enjoyed it.
It's definitely that weird fine line of, especially if like you're friends with these people. Like,
right.
I personally enjoy watching my friends have those emotional meltdowns. Like it feels good to know that like you've invested yourself that much into like this world, like this story I'm weaving for you. Like I want you to have that emotional connection, but also I don't want you to have so much emotional connection that this is going to be ruined for you if this character dies.
Right.
I've been blessed that none of my players have main character syndrome, but I feel like the basis of that at the end of the day is a lot of the people will come into this game from their perspective. Yeah, you are the main character because in your own world, your own universe, you are the center of that. Because if your character is gone, that story doesn't exist. So there is that balance of, yeah, you are the main character from your perspective. You are important to this narrative, but every narrative has a beginning of an end, and not everybody's narration is long as others. Some narrations are going to be a few chapters. Some are going to be a few pages, and you have to come to terms with the fact that one character may get 3 sessions, one character may get 3 years, one character may get 3 lines before the gods are like, you know what, this isn't working, and you got to go elsewhere. So
yeah, hell yeah, and that's how I like to do it too. Where like I like to let the story drive a character's livelihood almost. And again, the group that I had, my main group for a while, was incredible with working with me with that. And it's just, you know, it was a really good time. But again, it all boiled down to streaming the whole time is just, it's a young man's game. It became too much. And, you know, like, again, like I would work till 3 o'clock. I'd come home. I'd take a quick shower. I'd make my wife and kid dinner. 5 o'clock. Or dinner would come, like pizza would come. So I've been home for 2 hours. Then everyone starts showing up. Then we're downstairs the rest of the night. My son goes to bed while we're streaming. I come upstairs, and now there's just enough time for me to make myself lunch for tomorrow and go to bed. Like doing that every week or like 2 weeks on, 1 week off, it was just too much. And then like on Tuesday nights, so we'd be streaming Thursday nights. Tuesday nights I would do a different stream, like hobby streaming. It was just, I wasn't painting as many minis as I normally do. I was just like, man, I can't do this anymore. This is too much.
It's a very tough balancing act that not enough streamers talk about. Everybody wants to talk about the glorious side of everything. But if you're a family-oriented individual, streaming, it might not be for you solely for the fact, like, this is a second job. It is a time commitment. I've been with my missus for 3 years now, and she met me. I was already doing this, so she knew what she was coming into. But we still have those fights at the end of the day, because I do this on Monday with Bosers. I've got my own show on Wednesdays. We do our TTRPG on Thursdays. We record on Saturdays, and then on Sundays I'm starting that adventuring league. But even that adventuring league, like, I had to preface with her and with the community, like, hey, I would love to do this full time. I can't. Right. If I have freedom, I'll run a game for you guys. If somebody else is playing during the week and you guys need a player, I'll jump in. Absolutely. But if you're a family, I don't think I would recommend you getting into streaming unless you're doing it as your 9 to 5, like during a normal job's time frame. Because if you're working a day job like we both do, and then working on your stream or any like aspects of something going into your stream at night, you're really limiting yourself to that family time. You're limiting your family to the time that they're allowed with you. And it puts a weird energy in the family, because your family will start looking at the clock like, oh, I've only got dad for one more hour. I've only got dad, or I've only got my husband for one more hour. Oh, we just got in a disagreement. So are we going to ruin this last time we have and discuss this and ruin the rest of our time together? Do we shelve this and come back to it later? And it's not great, to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and be like, streaming's the greatest thing on it. It's fun, but it's a taxing thing. This is a second job for me. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and act like my life with Sky is absolutely perfect. It's not. Everybody's got their trials and tribulations. And time management is 100% one of the things that she's like, hey, quit fucking doing shit. Like, I miss my husband. Your kids miss their father. Like, you got to step away and like pay attention to what's close to you. And I got to give you props for recognizing, one, I'm not having fun with this. Two, this is draining me way too much. Like, I have to step away from this.
So that is a big thing that you just said. Can I do a quick shameless plug?
So fucking please do it.
So Canadian Dice is on here, and they're appropriately named because they make dice, and they just fell out. But he's doing these mystery boxes of dice, and dude, they're so pretty. And I just got one in the mail, and Canadian Dice does great stuff, and he has different price ranges with like.
I'm assuming this is Canadian Dice on Instagram.
Yeah.
Boom! There's your guys' love. Go check them out.
Yeah, he's got like the acrylic sets. He's got the sharp edge resins. He's got metal dice. So he's got all the different price ranges that you can get as nice. I mean, all his dice are nice, but you can get like sharp edge resin if you really want it.
Ooh.
But I gotta give him a shout out because he sent me this mystery box. And he included a sharp edge resin set in it, and it is like gorgeous. But
that is the benefit of streaming, is you get gifts from people, and that feels great.
I pay for it. But he put that in there, because we have that kind of rapport where we've been talking. He's like, oh, let me give him like one that's really, really, really cool,
Nice.
And I have to say that's one of the things I'm so grateful for in terms of getting started with the streaming and opening a hobby Instagram account. I've met and talked to so many people. I've traded, like this shirt I have on right now is from, now I'm really dating myself, THACO. To hit armor class 0 for those uninitiated or under the age of 35.
John, welcome in, buddy.
So they do like nerdy t-shirts. They have like spells, dice, all sorts of stuff, like all nerdy. They're on Instagram. They have a Shopify thing. And when I was talking to them, I was like, hey, man, I'm like, yeah, everyone in my group is really enjoying it. He sent me like a bunch of shirts for free for the group. Like, I didn't ask for it. He just did it because he's like, oh, cool, dude. And like, I've met so many cool people doing like little things like that. I stumbled across your guys' channel, which is awesome. I love what you guys are doing with the community. And then King Boser was, He said, why don't you come on the channel? I said, okay. I don't know why you want me, but I'm in.
It's honestly one of the coolest things in the world. And like we were talking about getting burnt out, and I was getting to that point. Because again, I'm full-time job. I'm spouse, father, doing this as a second job. And it was one of those things, like I was no longer looking forward to it. I was like, fuck, I got to spend another 2.5 hours. I got to spend time with them, like researching our guests.
Right.
And for you, don't think I'm like forcing myself into this one. Like, you're one of the people that like, he's like, hey, look who we got. And I was like, fuck yeah, I don't even need you, Boser. Like, I got this whole conversation. You're going to sit there and look pretty.
Boser bowed out. You're forcing yourself to be here. You guys make it feel so welcome today.
But it's one of those things, like I sat down and like Wednesdays was my big issue because consistency on your stream days, and analytics is a very stupid thing to watch, but like it hurts if you have a really great stream and you have a bunch of people, chats popping off, and then you have nobody there, and it's a bad thing to base your success off of. But I don't know about you, it was definitely something that hit me hard. I'm like, should I be doing this? Like, are people enjoying this? And I was getting myself burnt out. But then I sit down for these Geek Out sessions and I get to meet all these incredible people because the fucking internet allows me to do so. And I'm like, do I fight with my wife because I do this? Yeah. Is it worth it though? Yes, because she gets it. She understands to that extent, like, I'm doing this because this is something I'm grinding to like make a career out of one day if we have things go our way. Like, that would be an outcome of I don't do my day job. This is what I devote my time to. And then along the way, yeah, the bumps and bruises are just like, hey, just spend more time with me. So yeah, I got to cut it back on other things so I can spend more time with you. So I can then also have my personal time of meeting these cool people, talking about the things that we have in common, expanding my horizons to do and meet and cool and expand things that like I didn't know anything about. And meeting and talking with the people, it's just that re-energization I need to like, this is why I do all of this, is for these hour and a half conversations, the sound bites I get to go back and laugh at, and just the relationships, like the likelihood you and I ever meet in person, very slim to none. But now because of the internet, I now have a way to access you. I now can keep up with you if you decide afterwards you want to be friends with me. But I like what you do. Your artwork's incredible. Your Instagram has some chef kiss pieces on there.
Thank you.
But it's one of those things, like, I've met so many cool people, and even if I just live vicariously through them, I'm getting a new light and energy in myself, seeing other people succeed and doing what makes them happy.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, I've always maintained this since I started this silly little channel. So basically, I always said, I'm doing this for fun because I have a good day job. I'm a local 28 sheet metal worker / draftsman.
Okay.
It's a good job. You might be familiar with some of the buildings I've worked on. The World Trade Center, the Empire State Building. I've built and designed multiple parts of all the iconic buildings in Manhattan.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Listen, my wife can't stand it because, like, anytime like we go to the city or drive past, I'm like, I designed the ductwork on the 13th floor here.
My dad's a carpenter. I've lived with that my whole life. I built that. I built that. I built that. I built that. I fell off that roof.
Yep. Oh, yeah, all those. So, I have a good day job, and I always maintain I'm doing this for fun. Like, it's never going to take over real life. And that was my breaking point, is the stream started taking over real life, where day in, day out, I'm planning content. Day in, day out, I'm scheduling this. To the point that I had an Excel sheet that one day I sent it to my wife because she works from home. And I emailed her and I said, hey, I'm like, here's the schedule that I have until December. It's like in June. And like, it was just, and she's like, I got anxiety just looking at this. What the fuck is this? And like, no joke, so many dates. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, and that's the other thing is, like, I love being a dad. Like, I'm addicted to being a dad. It's one of my favorite things in the world, more than gaming, more than anything. I love being a dad to my son. Then I'm like, why is streaming becoming such a priority? Like, let me just take a step back. And I realized that it had to be, yes, Alec, I will be your father. I'm old enough to be your father, apparently.
Literally.
Where basically I had to take a step back and be like, look, this is just way too much. I always said, the minute it's not fun, I'm stopping. And it became not fun, so I stopped. And I have no regrets about it, because I may have stopped streaming my Dungeons and Dragons game, but I'm still active on Instagram. I'm still doing random streams, but now I'm doing it on my schedule and like when I'm free. And like when you guys are like, hey, dude, are you guys free Monday at 8:30? I was like, I don't normally stream on Mondays, but let me see. And yeah, my kid's in bed. Like, yeah, I'm free. Cool, totally. Like, it's no longer, well, it has to be Tuesday, Thursday, and I'm occasionally free on a Monday. And like, it's just, now it's just go with the flow, and I'm much happier.
See, that's why we're pretty lucky with us being a group project, is like Boser today. Like, he got off work last night, like 4:30 in the morning, had to get right back to it, I think 9 this morning. And he texted me early this morning. He's like, hey, just a heads up. Like, I don't have the energy for this. Like, I'll get what I can done. I don't have it in me. I was like, I don't give a shit. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And then he texted me later that day. He's like, what if I don't come to stream? And it's one of those things like we're talking just like, because we're business partners, we have to like put the feelers out and be respectful. But we both know at the end of the day, like mental health comes first.
Yep.
Priority number one. If you don't have the energy for this, don't fake it. Don't act like you can't do it. So Boser needed today off. Cool. I got your back.
Right.
In my personal life, we've had fucking court case after court case and shit going on endlessly. And I had about a 3-month time period where my Wednesday show, I was like, Boser, I can't fake the smile. I don't have anything to talk about. I can't pretend like my life is okay. I can't sit at this computer screen for 2 hours and pretend it's all okay. And that's one of those things like, okay, we've got other days. It doesn't really matter. But we have that counterpart of I don't know how anybody like does this professionally by themselves. I don't have the fucking mental capacity or the energy to do the editing, the streaming, the fucking promotion. Like, I don't know how you do. Like, Boser and I split everything fairly 50-50, and neither of us can barely keep our heads above water.
I mean, well, that was part of the thing too. When I was starting the channel, it's a very uncomfortable conversation to have. So the way the group started initially, and I say group.
Hey, thanks for coming in, Canadian Dice.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Ryan. So like I said, me and my group of friends, we had played Warhammer and stuff in my basement. So we went to Captain Con and we went to the Age of Sigmar tournament, and like we're just signing up for like, the tournament, and they're like, oh, what team are you from? And we're like, oh, what? And they're like, so one of my friends was like, Team Drew's basement. And like it's the dumbest thing, but we were all like, yeah, okay, that works. So then, like, we did that for, I think, 2 years in a row. We went as Team Drew's Basement, like, joking around. Like, we did, like, local tournaments. Oh, yeah, TDB.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, we play in his basement. His name is Drew. Done. And so what wound up happening was I turned to everybody and I was like, hey, guys, I'm thinking about, because what wound up happening is actually we went to Mini Wargaming in Canada to film. Me and a bunch of the guys I used to game with. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about starting my own channel too. And I'm thinking about naming it Team Drew's Basement. Does anybody really care? And they're like, no, it's cool. And like the uncomfortable conversation I had to have with everybody was like, look, I'm going to be footing the bill on everything. Microphones, cameras. It's going to be my channel. It's going to be my Instagram. It's going to be my YouTube. I'm going to be doing it all. I'm going to be footing the bill. And, down the line, if anything happens, I'll be more than happy to split anything I get with anybody. But it's ultimately going to be my channel, and you guys are going to be guests on my channel,
Mm-hmm.
And without going into too much detail, a couple people did not take that well.
It's a very it's an important line to draw, but you have to realize that not everybody can be friends and business partners.
Right. And between me and you and the wall, listen, I know my friends. I know them well. I know certain people would put out 110%. I know some people put out 10%.
Yeah,
it's just so. But once you invite one friend into it, then the rest get all bent out of shape. Then they're not into it. So it's easy to just be like, look, I'm going to do this on my own.
Yep.
So then we did that. I did a couple battle reports with the Warhammer and was posting a lot of Warhammer stuff, and just the group just wasn't thriving. It wasn't jiving well, with the channel. And I was just like, you know what? D&D's going well. I'm going to start streaming D&D. And D&D took off really well, went really well for a long time. And then all of a sudden I get this email from Twitch saying that I hit affiliate. And I was like, oh, word? I don't even know what this is.
I'm casually pulling shit off.
I'm like, I don't even know. I'm like, I just went on Twitch because that's what people on Instagram said to do. I was really just doing it to YouTube, and it was a shit show. They're like, what are you using to stream? I'm like, I don't know. StreamYards. And they're like, what's that? I'm like, I don't know, but there's a duck on it. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I found it on the internet.
I found it on the internet, and it goes right to the YouTubes. And there was no overlays. There was nothing. It was just this garbage, like 3 cameras on the screen. Like, it was just, it was miserable. It was terrible. And then I get the email, you hit Twitch affiliate. At that now I have overlays and everything now, but And I hit that and I was like, oh, cool. What does this mean? And it's like, you can now monetize. And I was like, fuck. Now I got to have a really uncomfortable conversation. And sure as shit, with my D&D group, I was like, look, if anything comes down the pipe, I'm more than happy to share it with you. But until I make my money back on everything I'm investing in this channel, I'm like, I'm not sharing any money on it. If anyone has a problem with that, you can, I understand. And if you take it personally, you want to leave, I won't take it personally. I get it. But like, I need Earthos. Peace out, brother. But like, this is just how it is. We're not going to be making any real money, but we'll be lucky if we make $20 a month. Are you kidding me? So like, I just don't want to be bent out of shape. I pay $20 a month in Streamlabs Prime subscription.
Yep.
So it's all just going back into the channel. Like, I'm not taking going, ha ha ha, Starbucks on me for me. Like, I'm not being like Snidely Whiplash, giggling behind everyone's back. I'm just, so I was upfront with everybody. I was like, and again, I have to emphasize, like, this is my channel and you are all very important. And I do share what I can with you. And I mean, anyone in that group, if they say otherwise, is a fucking liar. But I don't think any of them would ever say that I didn't share the wealth. Like, anytime like I worked out a deal with somebody where like I got dice, or like Farron's Forge made us like a player kit where there was like soap, dice, and a whole bunch of candles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like everyone got it. Like, it wasn't, oh, Drew got candles. It was, I got 7 candles, one for me, one for each player. Like, I wasn't hoarding all, like, I was sharing it easily. But again, you have to have that conversation of, listen, guys, this is my channel. Is what it is. And if it hits the point where we're going to make real money, then we'll talk, But while I'm making $20 a month in payouts, I'm not going to.
And that's such a weird thing that people have a heart, because everybody's like, everybody's streaming, everybody's living off of this.
Right.
No.
You're not.
It's so hard to explain the 1%, because like people don't understand, like, economically speaking, like the 1% exists. Like, if you make $400,000 a year or something, you're technically in that 1%. Right. But then people don't understand, like, you're Jeff Bezos, you're Elon Musk, they're the 1% of that 1%. And so in the aspect of streaming, like, we've got 10 people watching us right now. Outside of your mans coming in here and gifting like 7 subs or whatever it was, even at that, with our partnership with Twitch, and not even partnership, our affiliation with Twitch, we will get 70% of that, of those dollars. So he gifted $25, we get 70% of that, and then it gets taxed.
At affiliate, I think you get 50%.
You might be right. It might be 50%. So we just made $12.50 off this stream. What I just spent $17 to go live with you. You think anybody is out here making like bankroll money? Like, Boser and I think on average like check out $70 a month in our stream. That doesn't get split down the pipeline for us. He's like, oh, here's $35. Thanks for your contribution. No, it goes right back into the channel. Yep. If we do something for the stream, if the channel can pay for it, it pays for it. If not, that's what we're here for. We will fund whatever needs to be funded to lay the groundwork for this to grow into something. But even at the end of the day, like, this isn't my company. This is Boser's company. And like you said, this is Boser's show. I'm a host. He pays me. Very fucking quotes here to explain.
$35. We covered it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But like, he and I've had that same conversation. Like, when I brought in, because this was a show created by Eugene, and they talked together. It's like, this is what it's going to be. They brought in another talking head. Those 2 creators left. And then when I came in, Boser's like, hey, because I've known Boser 22 years now or something fucking crazy like that. Right. He's like, hey, you know me, so I'm not saying this from like an egotistical way. Like, this is my channel. However, you've been our fucking behind the scenes fucking person for 5 years. What do you think about coming on full time? You've already had an opinion on the show. I take your word into accountability for decisions I make. I will never hold over my like ownership to this, but like, final decision comes through me. And I'm like, good. I don't want that fucking responsibility. If this shit fails, I can blame you.
And you can walk away, unscarred.
Yes, exactly.
And there's a lot of streams. And now, I don't know how they get a mixed bag of reviews. But like Swole Initiative grew real fast. And like, that dude alone puts out so many fucking reels. Like, he's dedicated his time to it, and like, and they're streaming like 3, 4, maybe 5 times a week with different shows, or like the dude grow wicked quick. I mean, like easily jumped like tens of thousands of viewers, like, and more, and like keep growing. Dude, like that's crazy, and that's awesome, and like I don't begrudge him for it at all. But I feel like people think that that's the norm, and it's like, no, man. Like this dude married a woman who's super into D&D, who's super into the streaming, who's super into him making these reels. Like my wife isn't into gaming. It's not her bag. Like she doesn't like it. Supports the hell out of me doing it. Loves that I do it. Loves that I spend my imagination the way I gotta spend it. But it's not her bag, so I can't, like, in the middle of like we're hanging out with my kid in the backyard, like, honey, I'll be back. I got an idea for a reel. I'll be back in like an hour. Like people think that like they're just gonna hop on, and they're gonna instantly take success. Like that dude is busting his ass day and day out, regardless of what you think of his stream, his DM skills, regardless of anything else. Dude's putting in the footwork. You can't knock him. You can't.
People don't know the behind the scenes of the guest we had on last week is a guy by the name of Decent Studios. I followed. I met him on TikTok. Random video popped up and he was talking about reaching affiliate on Twitch, and I was like, hey man, like if you're still trying to hit that benchmark, let me know when you stream. I'll bring my community out. We'll help you hit that benchmark. And he's like, no, like this is an old video, man. Like I've hit that benchmark, but appreciate it. Go spread that love somewhere else. I was like, I like your fucking energy. Let me check out what your stream's about. So I've been following him 9 months now, and I believe he's been streaming for 10. So Dead by Daylight's a massive game on Twitch, might be one of the biggest games on Twitch. But this man grew 2,100 followers on Twitch in 9 months, 10 months, and just had this rapid success growth. And it's a weird thing that like success on the internet is random. You can manufacture success if you know how to play the game. Right. But the way algorithms work right now is you have to really be on the pulse to know how to ride it to immediate success. And there's sometimes you just make the right moves at the right time, and the internet pushes you in a way where, like you said, you can start getting 10,000 viewers in such a short period of time. But if you do not put in the work to maintain that 10,000 viewership, the fall off is going to be immediately, and you can't recover from that.
No, it's crazy. And like, that's the other thing that I said. So one of the things that I kind of pride about my channel, I'm a very humble dude. Like I appreciate everybody. And one thing that I am proud of about my channel is I think I have like 940 followers at this point. I started this Instagram/channel like this is all like within a year now. Is of those 940, let's just say 947 followers I have, I've had a personal conversation with about at least 900 of them.
Wow.
I have never not spoken to somebody who's followed me, even if it's just a quick little like, oh, I saw they follow me. I check out some of their stuff. I'm like, hey, dude, thanks for the follow. I saw some of this, and I'll comment on their work. Like, and it's not just, hey, man, thanks for the follow. Looks like you painted some Warhammer stuff. I'm like, hey, man, that Marnie's Calgar you did, I love the way that you blended the blue into the steel on his Gauntlets of Ultramar. Like, it's not this generic, hey, thanks for the follow. It's, I took the time because you took the time.
Genuine networking.
And I tell you, like, that's the whole reason I started. I just want to nerd out with other nerds. That's the whole point of my channel. I'm not trying to become rich. I'm not trying to become famous. I don't want to be Critical Role 2.0, which you and I have to talk about still.
Alec did one of the funniest things. So Alec is a streamer as well, but when he started streaming, his bio on Twitch was, I'm only here to get invited to Twitch events. That was his goal. He just wanted to be invited to Twitch events. That's why he started streaming.
That's dope.
And this man's an absolute fucking lunatic. I guarantee right now he's got 12 Twitch streams open, and he clicks between all of them to show love. Like, now that you've been on the show, he probably already follows you on Instagram. You go live, he'll be there. You share something on the internet, he'll comment on it. He'll share it for you. Alec is the biggest cheerleader I've ever met in my entire life. And I don't know how this man keeps up with all these communities, because I can't fucking do it.
Oh, my 3D print's done. You see the resin back there?
Yes, I do. I got to ask, what printer do you have?
Elegoo Mars 2 Pro or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah,
Both of mine are out of commission, and my heart is fucking broke.
So I have a Anycuboc Photon.
I've got the Photon S. Yep. Oh yeah, fucking mid. It's a good entry printer, but that's about it. Elegoo is trash. Don't buy it if you're getting into 3D printing.
No, but the Elegoo Mars, I gotta tell you, man, I have had one failed print.
Dude, Elegoo is so fucking. So I had the Photon S that I ran for 2 years. My motor went out for it on somehow. Don't know. Shit happens. So my uncle-in-law, Sky's uncle, was like, "Hey, I'm not printing at the moment. I know you got some commissions running right now." He's like, "Take my Elegoo 3 and I'll try to fix yours." I was like, "Fuck yeah." The Elegoo is bars ahead of Anycubic. It is absolutely fucking insane. Like you said, I never had a failed print on it. The print bed is massive. It prints like 4 times as fast. Now I'm a broke bitch and can't afford a new printer, and my heart breaks
so Warhammer is a very expensive hobby.
Yes.
Let's see if you can. So this is a Cataphractic Terminator for $30K, but I play Sons of Horus, so it's actually just Starion Terminator.
Fucking nice.
And for those who are not
fuck aware, off Games Workshop, it's not your design. Mind your business.
I do, Alec, by the way. I do still stream on Twitch, just not as much. I'm actually going to be streaming soon after Thanksgiving. I'm going to be doing another hobby night and stuff. But
we'll be
I'm going to be doing those more and more. So we'll get to that in a second. But for those that don't know about Warhammer, it's a very expensive hobby. Forge World, which is their elite version of the models and like rare stuff,
so fucking
even more expensive.
So bad.
But Forge World is disgusting. The models are terrible. The quality is garbage. So now
we do not illegally get custom made STL files from the internet that are not direct ripoffs of anything that they create.
Openly download direct ripoffs of STLs. Openly.
My favorite thing about the STLs you find online is the names associated so GW doesn't find them. If you ever look at Cultist 3D and just like scroll through some of their names, I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever read in my entire life. And your description makes sense exactly for what I was looking for, but still without Games Workshop finding out what I'm printing illegally here.
Sons of the Bold Primarch. That's how I found all my stuff. The Sons of the Egyptian God's Eyes name. Like just like the dumbest names. I'm like, yeah, that checks out. And so I print all these accessories because to afford these accessories, so a squad of 5 Justarian Terminators is like $80 plus. Because you got to pay for the 5-man unit, then the Forge World bits, plus they're shipping it from the UK. And it's garbage resin. It's not even really high quality resin. Like my 3D printer resin is better than theirs. Which is wild because I got the $20 bottle from Amazon. and it's like, so I can download these aftermarket bits that look exactly the same for $2.
And the only limitation is you can't get caught at an official tournament.
So the way that they wrote it now was, I think the most recent release for the tournament was, I think it has to be majority GW, but you can't. It's very funny phrasing. So like, you can use 3D printed shoulder pads and things like that, but you had to design them. So I said, let me tell you something right now. Let me just put this out there in the universe. If I'm at a GW tournament, which I don't do competitive Warhammer anymore, but if I'm at a GW tournament and the TO's like, hey man, nice shoulder pads, where'd you get them? I'm like, I designed them. What the hell is he gonna say?
Right, like how are you gonna tell me I was wrong? Are you gonna tell me I'm wrong, Doug? She came down in a bubble. Anyways.
But it's like, how are you gonna tell me I didn't make these? Like, how do you know?
Yep.
Well, can you prove it? No, I didn't bring my laptop 3D printer Cheeto box.
Can you disprove it, bitch? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Exactly. Can you disprove it? So yeah, it's a very wonky line. I think no one really cares at tournaments from what I've seen, unless they're about to lose like a really important match. then it's
Oh yeah. Then they're gonna start eyeballing everything. Judge, need a ruling.
With my Astreus.
Well, actually,
well, that's 3D printed. You can tell by the way that the front is a 30-degree angle as opposed to 32, as noted by Forge World's miscalculations.
It's just stop playing Warhammer. I hate you. Dude, Warhammer tournament players are the worst. So my dad, who we discussed my tattoo before we got on stream. I have a Necron here because Necron is my main. That's my main gem. I got a Necron Lord with a monolith up here and a whole bunch of other stuff. And up here is a Space Marine, the iconic one from when 8th edition dropped.
Such quality work at that too, man.
Thank you. And it also has Super Dungeon, which I will nerd out about to no end. So I don't know.
You make my tattoos feel like shit. That's all I'm saying.
I got this whole arm. I got up here, my back. Anyway, well, see, here's the problem, and this is what my wife hates about my gaming addiction: is anything I do in life, it's both feet into the deep end.
Oh, full send every time.
I'm gonna get a tattoo. Cool. What are you getting? My whole fucking arm. Oh, cool. What's the next one? My whole chest. What, like one side? No, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I've got every bit of my body planned out. I just need life to stop fucking me so I can financially afford them.
Oh, dude, my next one is an entire right leg sleeve. I'm talking.
What are you getting?
Right below the grund, all the way down to my ankle, like whole thing. I don't really know yet. It's up in the air.
Fair enough.
I haven't locked it in yet, so it is possible that Bluey may make an appearance on my body for those. For those who would like to make fun of me, I'm a tremendous Bluey fan.
To each their own. We don't geek shame here.
In my defense, I had a 1.5-year-old kid when COVID started.
Yep.
So, like, what are we doing? We're watching Disney. It's all
Listen,
we're doing.
Bluey somehow managed to captivate not only children but the adults as well, but not in the same way that I always said like SpongeBob did with us growing up, but very different grow-ups here between the two of us. But like everybody, like every generation has that TV show, and the shows were always written in that sense of like, how do we get the parents to not change the channel?
Like Animaniacs was the champions of that.
Exactly. So you have to find that niche. And I think it's the fact that we're all just depressed pieces of shit at this point in life. So when COVID came around and like, oh, you fuckers got kids now? Here's Bluey, man. Let it take over your life. You think you're going to be upset that your kid wants to watch this again? No, they're going to go to bed and you're like, listen, let's just watch a couple more episodes. We'll play reruns next week.
Oh, dude. And those episodes are, what are they, like 7 minutes a pop?
Yeah, exactly.
So, dude, first of all, Alec, they're not British. They're actually Australian. Thank you. They're Australian healers. No, I became obsessed with the show. Anyway, so back to what I was talking about. So I have Necrons. My dad plays Space Marine. So this whole arm is dedicated to my dad because he had prostate cancer and he beat it. And he beat it. He's doing great. Oh. Love him.
That's not an easy one to beat. So shout out your pops.
Yeah, no, dude, it was. I'm not going to go into all the details because I don't think he'd want me to. But he had it. He beat it. He's good to go now. So I got this in honor of him because he and I have played Warhammer for years now, since even before I met my wife. And he always was Ultramarines. I was either Chaos or Necrons, but I'm mainly Necrons. So we go to Captain Con, and I'm like, "Hey, Dad, we're going to Captain Con. You want to come?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll bring my Warhammer and maybe I'll play some." My dad's not very good at the game. He's not. He doesn't play consistently. He's just more into it to paint and have fun. My dad's painting is outrageous. And he has his own custom Ultramarines chapter color scheme. Like,
that's awesome.
The dude has, like, for anyone who plays, he's got like 10, 12,000 points of Ultramarines.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe even more. Dude, he has easily 10 to 12 full tactical squads of firstborns, all the Primaris shit. He owns at least built, painted in full detail, pristine painting job, 6 Land Raiders. A Land Raider that he kit bashed and made his own, the Terminus Ultra, where it's got like the 9 last cannons on it. Like all the shit that he made, like
that's so awesome. Your dad's cooler than my dad for sure. My dad bullies me still for playing Dungeons and Dragons.
He has his flaws, don't worry.
So we go to this Captain Con, and he's like, there's a 40K tournament. He's like, I'll go play. I'll put down some tanks and some Terminators and whatever. I'll just roll some dice. Totally chill attitude about it. He gets done with the first round. He gets fucking destroyed. he's just not a good player. It is what it is. But he's also like accepting of it. Like he's like, I may die, but at least they look pretty when they die, you know, because he loves painting. He's got such a great attitude about it. So now the round's over. And this guy comes over and they're like, okay, Gary, you're going over to this table. So-and-so, you're going to this table, you know, like doing the matchups. This guy walks over and he turns to my dad. This dude's like, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm 6'3", about 340 pounds, and I'm not really a fat dude. I'm a big dude. This dude is like 5'2", comes over and he turns to my dad and he goes, can you get your shit off the table already? And my dad's like, I'm cleaning up. Like, what's the problem? He's like, games have to happen tonight, and we have to get them done in the time allotted. Move your shit. And my dad's like so like flabbergasted. He's like, what the fuck? So I can just see my dad is like kind of stressing out. So I walk over to the table. And I'm like, what's up, man? Like, what? I'm like, you look stressed. Like, I'm getting yelled at for not cleaning up fast enough. So the guy comes back. He's like, come on, Bartley, let's move, get off the table. And I turn to this dude. I go, you talk to my father like that again, I'll fucking kill you. And I said it like such a straight face and like such a monotone tone. The dude just looks at me and he goes, duh, whatever, and like leaves. And this is the best part of that story. The dude comes back, or I think it's the dude comes back, and he goes, hey man, thanks for what you said. And I go, what? Dude goes, yeah, my twin brother's an asshole. And now I think this dude is screwing with me. I'm like, this is bullshit. And sure as shit, in walks his twin brother. And they look exactly the same. And the guy's like, nah, he's just a jerk at tournaments, dude. Take your time. He's like, I'm glad you said something to him because he's just a jerk.
I think that's the best story that we could have possibly gone out on, which I'm upset about because I think you and I could talk for fucking hours.
Hell yeah, dude.
However, after the conversation of balance with our spouses and being parents, I unfortunately have to admit that, yes, it is time to end this stream, unfortunately. Yeah. But fuck, man, you come on whenever the hell you want. I'll
see you tomorrow.
We had a list of shit that we could have talked about, and we spent D&D for. I didn't even get to ask my questions about D&D, so I'll probably be in your inbox here soon.
Sure.
But genuinely, man, I appreciate you coming on. You were an absolute blast. If you guys do not follow him on Instagram, please do, because that's where you're going to be able to keep up with all of his work. We will be back on Wednesday. I'm doing a reaction stream. I'm fucking terrified to allow people to just send me shit to react to live on the internet. But if we're going to go out with a bang, we're going to go out with a bang.
Can I make a recommendation?
Absolutely.
Are you familiar with Tom Segura, the comedian?
Oh, yes. The missus and I actually just saw him this last summer, a couple months ago.
Podcast Your Mom's House.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, did you watch the Your Mom's House lives?
Not all of them.
Okay, because those clips at the end that they do, that's what you're gonna get. It's gonna be dude shitting in dudes' mouths. It's gonna be.
I have the stream set up so there is a delay so I can flip off if any of that kind of pops off. So.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be gross. Let me know if you need material. But
so stream.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Stream on Wednesday. No stream Thursday. It's the fucking Thanksgiving Day. Fucking go feast yourselves, you fucks. But yeah, we'll be back on Monday with a guest. I don't know. Boser does the scheduling. He'll be here. Maybe he won't. I'll be here. Maybe I won't. We're just gonna find out next time. So.
But thank you for having me, man. It was awesome to be here. I love you guys' show. So, listen, if you guys ever want me to come back and continue talking, I'm always down for hobby and hanging out.
This is one of the easiest conversations I've ever had on this channel. So,
thank you. And dude, if you ever want, like I said, usually it's Tuesday nights. I'll hobby and paint and have a guest on who hobby and paints with me, and we just shoot the shit.
I need an excuse to get back to painting. I've got my Space Marines I need to finish. I'm about to strip my Custode so I can get them matching.
All right, dude, we will talk because I would definitely have you
Absolutely.
on my channel to just BS and paint.
Fuck yeah. Fuck
Hell yeah,
yeah.
dude.
All right. So at the end of every stream, we do something where I'm going to say thanks or so that's it for the show. I'm T, and then you'll say your name, and then we'll finish with, and you guys just keep, and then we say geeking out at the same time. Okay.
I think I got it.
All right. So appreciate you guys coming out. Until next time, I'm T.
And I'm Drew from Team Drew's Basement.
And you guys just keep
Geeking out.
Bye.
Bye. Peace, man.